4 simples signes s'improuvent your life.
Story 1. Cleaning my place for 10 minutes after I get home from work every day. Set a timer, clean for 10 minutes. Everything else can wait until tomorrow. It's awesome because I absolutely hate cleaning, but there isn't much to clean because I do a little bit every day. I just pick up where I left off the next day. Story 2. I hate to admit it, but establishing a fixed sleeping schedule and routine. I used to sleep and wake up only when I needed to, and was always tired. After I fixed my sleeping schedule, I'm not tired for the first half of the day and extremely awake for the second half. Story 3. Starting to give less of about the negatives in my life. I'm working towards myself and not this goal of, oh, I need to find love and be happy with that and blah blah blah. Man, I just stopped worrying about that. I just want to be alone, relaxed on days I'm not at work, and continue to save up money. I've set goals for work and for my home life that involve decorating my room, lol, but other from that, yeah, it's helping. Story 4. Maybe not super simple, but by far the best thing I did for my life was ditch my loser friends. I had a bad friend group full of listless, disaffected and lazy criminal people. The second I dumped that group, my life changed fast and dramatically. I felt better, looked better, and had options. Most of them are dead from heroin or in prison. Story 5. Pushing on my collarbone to release my AC joints. I had all sorts of upper back problems. Paid good money to chiros, physios, masseurs. It kept coming back. I googled crackling trapezium as that was the most noticeable thing. Whenever I did swimming motion it would sound like bubble wrap. I clicked on the top video. It turns out it was the shoulders, not the back, causing the trouble. A minute pushing up on the collarbones and prodding the shoulders a day and am now right as rain. Story 6. Avoiding social media. Edit 1. So I thought I'd make this more clear. I've been on social media ever since I can remember, being online 24/7, staying late night awake just for the sake of it and whatnot. As a resolution for 2K18, I decided to quit at FBIM's Instagram, Snapchat, Tinder, the likes of it, and it's been great. I don't have any anxiety whatsoever now. It feels so stress-free and am actually doing productive stuff. As for some apps like Reddit, etc., I do indulge in them. It's something that serves me well. Story 7. The mindset of needing an extra 15 minutes to get somewhere. I usually get held up at finding keys in my wallet, checking the weather and traffic, etc. Now it's less stressful and I get to places on time. Story 8. Putting yourself as a priority. Every time I put someone else above myself it ends up crashing in the end, and then you're left more so concerned about that person than yourself. Story 9. Judge every action you take based on your overall life goal. Ask yourself, I want to do X with my life. Is this choice taking me closer to that dream? Story 10. Not smoking. Exercising regularly. Having goals no matter how small. Martial arts. Keeping to a schedule. Deleting Facebook. Having the mentality to improve every day. Story 11. Learning to be okay with decisions I made. Sounds simple, but it took a conscious effort. I found myself always second-guessing decisions I made. If I chose the blue shirt, I would leave the house thinking I should have chosen the red shirt. Constantly second-guessing decisions is very stressful. Learned control doing it and am much happier. Story 12. 3 things that had the most positive impact on me were spending some time with a really good psychologist. I understand myself so much better now, and I no longer want to kill myself after suffering depression and anxiety for more than a decade. Minimalism, just simplifying my life, removing distraction, removing all the stuff that drained emotional energy, just keeping the things and people that I love, that make me feel good. Keto, my mood is so much more even now. I never get tired or hungry, and rapidly losing weight at the same time now seems like a bonus. Story 13. Started journaling, with a separate journal for work and for real life, some kind of minimalist bullet journal for work, and a Hobonichi Techo planner for real life. Got it as a gift. It does wonder to my memory, both short and long term, and actually helps separate work and personal life. Story 14. Lifting heavy things 3 days a week and playing my bass guitar for at least 15 minutes daily, and regular phone calls with my best friend that I've been ashamedly away from for several years until recently. Story 15. I took my happiness back from the future. I was always depending my happiness on future outcomes or the achievement of goals. I would think, if I am able to do just this one thing, or get this one thing, then I will be happy. I would spend all this time meticulously calculating how to achieve what I wanted and get so frustrated when things didn't go my way. I was so anxious and depressed while striving for future things, because I believed my happiness depended on it. I now try to see my life as perfect right now, and I try to feel happy in the moment. I still have goals, lots of them, but I do not see my goals as needs. I see goals as opportunities to experience life and all the great things it has to offer. I don't depend anything on the outcome of a goal. My happiness is now. Story 16. Waking up early enough to ready at a normal pace, eat breakfast, and do my other chores. I used to sleep until the last minute and rush through everything, usually skipping breakfast, just to catch the train on time. Having time in the morning is such an improvement. Story 17. Walked more than I usually do to get home. I usually walk 5 to 10 minutes, take the bus, and walk another 5 to get home from my job. This morning, I walked the first 5 minutes as usual, but since I had to go to the washroom at the stop between my 2 buses, I missed a second bus and had 2 choices: wait for the next bus about 40 minutes and walk the usual 5 minutes, or walk the whole thing, which should take the same time. I was like, meh, since I'll end up arriving at the same time, why no walk the whole thing? It's not really cold today anyways. I ended up arriving almost 10 minutes earlier than anticipated. Felt good to walk a bit more than usual, and save time as well. Story 18 replaced social media with reading, replaced radio with audiobooks, have learned so much more and definitely don't miss seeing and hearing the same every day. Story 19 I just sort of stopped giving a one day, stopped worrying that I wasn't in the popular crowd, or whether I was going to do well in studying, or about most other things really. Nowadays I do my own thing at my own pace and stuff seems to go pretty smoothly. I'm overall a lot more relaxed than I used to be, though I tend to put on an all business all the time act in public because I kinda prefer to be left to my own devices. Story 20 stopping waiting to become happy. I mean like, after I finish uni I'll be happy, when I get a great job I'll be happy, or when I get a house and a partner and kids then I'll be happy. Happiness comes from inside and is not the result of a pursuit. Story 21 throwing out all of my regular day-to-day socks and replacing them with 50 identical pairs. Well, not exactly identical. I bought 20 pairs of white and 30 pairs of black. Life changing. I used to spend 5 to 10 million matching up pairs every time I washed my socks. Never again. Now they come out of the dryer, and I can throw wads onto a SHWLF of my closet. To match up a pair later to wear, all I have to do is grab 2 of the same color. My life improved by like 3 the day I did this. Story 22 gave up watching sports. No more desires to throw things yell at the TV. My team losing doesn't ruin the next several days. I'm an all-around happier person now. Story 23 Reddit context. I'm in a third world country and have not traveled the world by any means. Reddit is where I've picked up interesting insights on events, hobbies, DIY projects and global culture stuff. My boss thinks I'm a genius, but I just pick advice from where I went to learn. Learned Swedish so I could understand stuff on Sweden. Story 24 Investing money in my hobbies, sometimes impulsively buying something new to learn. Make sure you can afford it at the time though. For a long time I thought investing in something I just do for fun was a waste of time and I would spend my money on food and makeup, although makeup can be fun instead, but I realized that doing stuff just for fun truly improves your life. Story 25 Go outside. I have terrible anxiety and preferred to be inside my house when I didn't have responsibilities I begrudgingly had to attend to. Then I realized that this was actually adding to my anxiety and fueling some depression too. I started by just grabbing my phone, putting on some music and going for a walk every day, just for some fresh air and to be a little more active. Eventually this got me to start going to the gym. Now whenever I'm feeling bad, I go for a walk or go to the gym and I can release that negativity a little and walk out feeling much better. And I'm healthier overall and lost weight. All it takes is minor lifestyle changes and eventually things can just fall into place. I'm not saying it's a one-stop solution to everything, but a few minor changes here and there is never a bad thing for your overall health. Story 26 Reading in bed before sleep instead of scrolling Reddit has helped me sleep better and get a sense of accomplishment or inspiration as I've reignited a love of reading. Story 27 I struggled with drinking enough water throughout the day, especially in the morning, so now I always have a bottle of water with some slices of lemon in it by the table, bedside, office, etc. It tastes better than plain water and the added vitamins help me get up in the morning and feel refreshed. Story 28 It took a long time to get there, but doing a real honest assessment of who I am, including all the stuff that I hate about myself, it wasn't easy and I'll be working on it my whole life, but like they say the first step to solving a problem is admitting you have one. Story 29 Using my mind like a knife. It's a tool, it has strength, flexibility, endurance, but above all it has an edge it can cut, and it must, if I am to dispel confusion. I always recall a story from basic computer science. How do you find a penny on a football field? Given that there's an oracle that answers the yes-no question, is the penny in the subset of the field? What to do? The field is so large, irrelevant, you cut the field in half, you ask the question, that tells you which piece to cut in half next. Repeat, in no time, you have a penny resting on a 4 square centimeters. Use your mind, cut relentlessly, get those answers. Story 30 Understanding that life will pass you by if you waste your time on meaningless. Haven't touched my PS4 for weeks. I used to be an avid gamer, playing something like 5 hours every day. Story 31 Not chasing after people who want chase after you, specifically dating. I won't chase after someone who doesn't seem interested. Saves me heartache and makes me appreciate myself more. Story 32 For me, losing weight and starting to work out boosted my self-confidence. Even if I'm not good at working out or technically more fit, I feel great after going to the gym and being able to say I did the workout. Story 33 Waiting 45 minutes before reacting to something upsetting. Examples: angry with a friend. Wait 45 minutes and see if you still need to send grumpy text. Coworker slacking. Wait 45 minutes before making a snide, accusatory comment. Most likely, you won't want to anymore. Story 34 Taking steps to be a better person. Stuff like thinking about other people's perspectives, even briefly. For instance, if I'm online at a store and I have 20 items and the person behind me has 2, I let them go, because I'm thinking how happy they'd probably be not to wait for me. Honestly, I feel happier. I feel like I've done my little parts to make the world a small bit better. I just feel generally nicer than I did before. Story 35 I joined a gaming group at the local comic shop and made some friends outside of the group I inherited from my ex, who were all I had when I first moved here. Story 36 Having less stuff, throwing things out, donating, etc. and keeping things decluttered have helped me feel a lot less stress for whatever reason. I'm in the process of a divorce and I will be moving out of the house I currently live in. The most exciting prospect to me is finally being able to be as decluttered as possible. Soon-to-be ex-wife is very messy. Story 37. There are few exercise regularly gives you energy during the days, allows you to fall asleep at night more easily. I need to get back into this. Go to bed at a reasonable time to get good sleep. Wake up early enough to start being productive during the daytime. Buying LaCroix or other mineral sparkling water to have in my fridge. This is going to seem weird, but hear me out. I work nights in the service industry, and when I get home I usually sit on my computer and have 2 or 3 beers. Having sparkling water has kind of tricked me into thinking I'm having a beer or a White Claw or something like that, but it's actually hydrating me instead of dehydrating me, and I'm waking up with much more of a clear head, and getting better sleep. Also, stopping smoking. I still occasionally have a few, but it's not half a pack a day or more. Story 38. Removing the upper cabinets in my kitchen. It made me purge anything redundant or superfluous and really organize the space for optimum use. Everything in the kitchen has a purpose and a designated spot. Story 39. Every time I think about what I don't have, I make myself think about something I'm grateful for. If I get sad for a friend of mine who died recently, I am in turn thankful I had someone I could miss so much. Story 40. This one ended up being way more simple and painless than I thought it would be. Getting an ingrown toenail cut out. I dealt with the pain every month or so from the time I was 13 until a few months ago. 26 years old now, 80 copay. The procedure took maybe 20 minutes overall, and most of that time was spent waiting for the toe to numb. The only time I experienced any pain was when I put a bandage on it too tight. I have no idea why I avoided getting it done for 13 years. Story 41. Put things away, not down. You'll be a lot calmer if you walk into a room and things are out away. This starts with twisting the urge to just put something down. Story 42. A few years ago, I noticed I had a really negative view on women around me due to being the youngest of 3 sisters and dancing growing up. Everyone was competition, and I was constantly scrutinizing other women to see how I ranked compared to them. So I decided to be like Leslie Knope and how she compliments and Perkins. Really silly and over the top but specific and individual. Now, I look for things I can point out to them to build them up and have stopped comparing myself and found myself much happier and I feel more connected to women around me. Not all women for sure, and I still have a hard time with close female friendships other than 2 or 3 women, but huge improvement overall. Story 43. Enjoying my alone time. I used to be miserable whenever I was alone, which was all the time. I work night shift at a group home. Alone, I live with my parents but work opposite hours as them, so they're either gone or sleeping when I'm home. I live in a rural area, so making friends isn't easy and I hated every minute of it. Then one day I just started looking forward to having my alone time. Probably because I made a few online friends and was really enjoying the games I was playing at the same time. Life got so much better once I stopped dreading the fact that I woke up. Story 44. Routine. Every morning when I wake up I follow the same routine before I leave. Turn off lights, grab phone, wallet and keys, etc. Every day when I get home from work I have a routine to get myself ready for the next day. Pack lunch, set out clothes, pack gym bag, etc. It saves time and stress. I never forget anything and I always get it done pretty quickly. Then I get to relax knowing everything is taken care of. Story 45. Got a robotic vacuum cleaner, then moved to an apartment with a dishwasher. Both are huge time savers. And the dishwasher allows me to cook every day. I love cooking but hate doing the dishes, so before the dishwasher they usually piled up in the sink and on the counter until I had no room to cook anymore. Story 46. Having an honest reflection on my current situation in life. I was exhausted constantly, unmotivated, and stressed out. I decided to talk with my doctor about it. I'm now being treated for mild depression and a severe vitamin D deficiency. I've been prescribed megavitamins and 15 minutes of sunshine daily. I can say that my situation has greatly improved. I may not be 100 all the time, but it's been great to actually accomplish things again. Instead of only wanting sleep, now I'm a little tired, but at least productive. Story 47. Going to the gym regularly, learning, actively participating in a hobby, eating oatmeal salads every day, drinking lots of water, learning to cook. Story 48. Alarm doesn't really work for me if I don't get enough sleep. Snoozing, can't hear it, so on days where I have important event, I'll chant to myself in my mind, wake up at XXM a couple times before sleep, then usually I'll wake up before said time, even before my alarm rings. Our mind is a powerful thing. Story 49. Blocking a phone number. I cut off all contact with one of my parents, and now it's like a huge weight has been lifted. I'm not letting myself feel guilty anymore, and I'm reading books on CPTSD and learning so much about myself in the process. Getting triggered into an emotional meltdown was the best thing that's ever happened to me. TLDR. Cut out toxic people from your life unapologetically and with gusto. You'll feel lighter and happier, 100 guaranteed. Story 50. Quitting video games. I've got adult ADHD, so have a super addictive personality, and also suffer from anxiety and depression. I have always thought of my time spent playing video games as a way to escape how I'm feeling, and BC of being ADHD, they're one of the few things that will keep my attention for any decent amount of time. I also considered myself to be in control of how much I played. Sure, I studied less than I could have, but I have a decent social life, got decent grades, and have a good job. I decided to delete all my games 2 weeks ago and I cannot believe how much better I feel. I've gotten my confidence back, have become less anxious, am less irritable, happier, and use my newfound free time to be more active. I know that just because it's benefited me doesn't necessarily mean it will benefit others. And it may not even be simple, especially if your friends all game. But if you play a lot of games and know you're probably addicted but reason that you use them to escape cope with other problems, just quit them for a couple weeks and see if your situation improves. By far the hardest thing about quitting is saying goodbye to all the time and money you've invested, but just accept they're a sunk cost and try moving on. Story 51. Exercise regularly, eat healthier, cut out soft drinks almost entirely. Also, squeeze in a quick less than 10 minutes, intense burst of exercise immediately after getting up. It sets you up to feel good all day. Story 52. I don't argue with people IRL unless I really have to, especially in a social setting. I just listen to what they have to say, then either leave them to it or change the subject. Life is so much easier now. Story 53. Sleep, a little exercise, water, cut soda down to weekends only, green tea, have green tea every morning. It has boosted my immune system so much. I used to get sick 4 times a year, now it's once. Story 54. Unfollowing people on Facebook that annoy me, which is most, but unfriending completely can cause unnecessary tension and problems, so it's a really nice alternative. 910 do recommend. Story 55. Wearing rubber gloves while doing dishes, easily the biggest difference in my routine. I would avoid dishes like the plague, which allowed them to get disgusting and harder to clean. I was buying new dishes all the time. Now I always keep a box of rubber gloves in the kitchen so I don't have to physically touch anything. Story 56. Decluttering and not hanging on to because I might need it someday. If you are not using it and it isn't adding to your life, get rid of it. You make room in your life for new stuff. Also, your place becomes much easier to keep clean and maintenance when it is not full of stuff, and you just feel better mentally coming home to an uncluttered environment. Story 57. Packing my lunch and making breakfast the night before. In the morning I throw my breakfast in the microwave and save myself 10 to 15 minutes of cooking and cleaning. Story 58. Put a glass of water next to your bed before you go to sleep. I get up much faster now that I have the routine of turn off alarm, sit up, drink the entire glass of water. At that point, I'm usually too awake to go back to sleep even if I wanted to. The days where I could still go to sleep, I'm aware and awake enough to just get up anyway. Story 59. Surrounding myself and having a good support circle where I would never have had one otherwise. Being around people who love me lifts me out of my depression and makes me happy. Story 60. After about 15 years of smoking, I finally have quit. I put quotes because I still vape, but good lord, the difference is awesome. 1. I don't wake up with a sore, phlegmy throat. 2. I don't smell like an ashy bag of. One day you'll stop vaping and kick the nicotine habit for real, but for now, vape NAYSH. Story 61. Cordless vacuum. Sounds ridiculous, but I keep my flat so much cleaner now, which makes it such a nice relaxing environment. All because I don't get annoyed having to switch plug sockets all the time. Story 62. Recently I have been saving energy by closing my eyes when I really don't need to be looking kinda weird to think about, but there's a lot more moments like this than you'd think. Sometimes I go into eco mode when no one is around where I continue functioning as usual, but while relaxing my entire body and only using the minimum necessary amount of movement. I have felt so much more energized in the moments I am expected to be, not to mention relief from daily existential anxiety. Woohoo. Story 63. I call it the Great Sock Purge. I got rid of years of collected mismatched socks and bought a pack of plain white sports socks, a pack of black dress socks, and a pack of tan casual socks. Now I don't have to sort through socks, or take 10 minutes to match them up. It's perhaps 10 minutes of my life every couple of weeks that I've saved, but it feels like a tiny liberation. Story 64. Dash camera. Reduces stress from other people doing stupid while driving because if they cause an accident, you have evidence of it instead of he said she said bullshit. Story 65. Reading. I'm not kidding, reading is simple once you know how to read, of course. There is so much knowledge in books and you can learn new things every day. Story 66. Safe words for arguing. Agree in good spirits on a no fighting safe word. When tempers get high, say the safe word and it means hands down. Check your tone, cool off. We have cut down our fighting in our marriage and some friendships even. Sounds dumb, but if everyone believes in it, it works like magic. It also helps when you need to talk about something sensitive and you don't want to be misunderstood that you're not trying to pick a fight. Start off with the safe word and everyone knows to keep cool. Story 67. Stopped smoking cigs. Started taking a daily multivitamin. Spent less time in bed on weekends. Made my bed every morning. Stopped drinking alcohol to fall asleep. Spent more time with my cat. Stopped eating fast food. Started eating breakfast every day. Deleted all social media. Story 68. Switching dorm rooms in college. My previous roommate woke me up at least once a night. I had so much anxiety and no energy throughout the day, but everything's back to normal now. Story 69. Meditation. Start with 1 minute, then move up to 2, then 5, then 10, etc. I do 2 20-minute sessions a day and I'm far calmer than I've ever been before. Story 70. Exercising and eating right with the side benefit of losing weight. I also had front teeth that were a hot mess and got those fixed. It's nice to no longer be self-conscious about certain things. I still have weight to lose, but I look close to being a normal person now, and I am no longer in the plus sizes. Story 71. I started reading books again. Not entirely whole books, but enough of what interested me and gave me cool things to think about and discuss. I found that by reading and considering what I read I was able to fill up time with something that made me feel productive and thoughtful. plus I think it gave me more interesting things to talk about. Even if people don't always like talking about specifics of books they haven't read, they generally appreciate conversations about certain themes. Story 72. This is an excellent question, and it deserves a solid response. Please bear with the length here. Honestly, the things that have helped me be a better person took years to change and were not simple. I spent my 20s learning to shut up and listen to other people, my 30s learning to receive and give constructive criticism. My 40s, I am halfway through them, and I think the lesson in this decade is centering around self-forgiveness. I am a survivor of childhood violence. I have no shame in sharing it, because those years of abuse altered the way I perceived my world, and the people in it. No child ever deserves that, and learning to forgive myself, to love myself for who I am, to be satisfied with my wrinkles and graying hair, to put on my pants, that takes years of hard work. Conversely, they are truly simple, because the work to be done opens doors to joy and happiness and peace and compassion that nothing else can. At least in my experience, I don't do New Year's resolutions, they don't work, and they usually are a lot of talk, without the preparation to follow through. I set my intention for the year 2018 is my year of self-care. No matter what the issue, I have dedicated this year to working on myself so that I can improve my life and be a person someone else can come to for safety, confidence, mercy, for unconditional positive regard. Just my thoughts. And again, thanks for being patient with a long response. Story 73. Working out in the morning at 7 a.m. before work. It literally made me 1. Prioritize my health over my job, 2. Feel good and have so much energy in the morning and be super productive, 3. Not feel bad for being a little lazy after work, and 4. Sustain a healthy lifestyle by going to bed early. Story 74. Purposely make a change in how I do things every single day, like for instance, changing how I tie my shoes. After a few months, you'll have to get very creative and examine more deeply how you do things in your life. Story 75. Carrying a reusable water bottle around and drinking from it all day. It's helped my skin, helped me not snack so much, made me feel more awake, and just all over feel better. Story 76. Identify 2 or 3 priorities in your life and focus on them. What is it that you want? Focus on getting it. Avoid other distractions that don't serve the priorities. Assess your time and attention against your priorities. Are they in sync? Everyone is different, but mine were marriage, family, and career in that order. I'm in love with a wonderful person in a long-term marriage. Nothing is more important to me than that. We both do little things for each other that non-verbally say I love you. Saying it is good too. My kids were next. Not that they were second fiddle to the marriage, but if the marriage isn't good, the family part is going to be really hard. We both took the attitude that the kids get their life lessons from us, so we needed to provide good examples, respect one another, work hard, do right by people. They all turned out pretty wonderful. I started in a career that was highly competitive and very challenging. For the most part, one liked it. After 6 to 7 years, I realized that my job at that time didn't support the first 2 priorities and made a change to a more family-friendly environment. I should have done it 2 years sooner. I'm not the high-profile hotshot I once aspired to be, but I'm not on my 3rd marriage either. I'm good at what I do and that's enough. Simplify your outlook. Focus on priorities. Story 77. Started keeping my personal spaces more tidy, organized. Getting out of bed no later than 8 p.m. Having something productive to work towards and doing exactly that. Learning web dev. In my case, I'm a 26-year-old who is on sertraline Zoloft for the Yanks P after 2 years of really bad depression, and making my progress back to my old self. It's slow but going. Story 78. Yoga for 15 to 30 minutes per day. I have been having lots of upper back pain, probably from sitting at a computer so much, that I decided that I needed to change. Because of this, my back pain is gone and I'm more flexible. Whoa, I can touch my toes now. It doesn't matter what gender you are, yoga's for everyone, young or old. Story 79. Reddit. I have bad social anxiety and cannot talk to people face to face or on the phone easily. Reading posts on here and leaving comments every now and then like this helps me a little, even though no one hardly replies. I have no one in my life to talk to except my husband who works all day and a 4-year-old that doesn't listen, so it is nice to be on here. Story 80. I have a thermally insulated bag. Before I go home on the bus, I buy hot food or cold food, put it in the bag, then when I get home it's still hot or cold. It means even in summer I can still buy butter or hot food in winter. Story 81. Getting a cat. Although it might not be very simple, and it's a subjective experience, but ever since I got my 2 cats, I swear it feels like life has changed for me. I love my cats as if they're my family. The first thing I do when I enter my house is find my cats and cuddle with them all. They're bundles of joy and can help you out of really bad spots if you get stressed out by other life matters. Story 82. Changing my diet to mostly plants. Seriously, I dropped 25 pounds in 3 months and have so much more energy all the time. I have not changed a single other thing in my day-to-day. Story 83. Getting a good night's sleep. It's crazy how overlooked getting enough sleep is. In terms of health, it should be right up there with a good diet and exercise. Story 84. Running. Every day, I'm more fit and confident than I have ever been in my life. I can go out and do activities without worrying about getting tired. It gets me outside, which drastically increases my mood and has promoted a whole slew of healthy habits I otherwise would have never discovered. Life is far from perfect, but my running and fitness is one thing that I have control over. Story 85. I changed my diet. I used to eat fast food, junk food, whatever I wanted basically on the regular. Hit my heaviest weight in January and realized I hated myself. I still love food and recognize its importance, but now I make an effort to eat fresh and whole foods. I eat out much less and now I prepare almost everything I eat. I'm down almost 10 pounds since January 23rd and I feel amazing. I used to be bloated all the time and I didn't even know it. I genuinely enjoy the food I make and I have been finding enjoyment in cooking, which I previously never felt confident with at all. I used to have intense cravings for fast food all of the time, and now when I drive past any of those places, I have no desire to stop in. All of those cravings have mostly subsided in the short time I have been doing this, and am not too strict. If I need a cookie, I have a cookie. I just don't eat all of the cookies, and I recognize that one cookie won't up my goals. Story 86. No social media, no watching sports, steadily consuming cruciferous vegetables, not drinking alcohol during the work week and lots of water, always water.